Starting. All right, we're live. Yay. Hey, witches. It is Easter morning, Sunday morning, and this is Dawn from Aurora Dawn, and I am going to talk about an article that Cheldra posted in our group, Shadow Magick Witches, on Facebook. And so I wanted to talk about it because there's some tricky things in this article that I've been thinking about, and I really want to go over because they're tricky because you think you're being spiritual and you think you need to do certain things a certain way, and that's not really the case, but maybe it is the case because sometimes it is the right thing to do. So the article is called 10 Spiritual Things People Do That Are Total Bullshit. All right, yeah. First off, I want to apologize. I've got my notes on my laptop and this setup is a little shaky, so if the camera starts shaking around, I apologize. I'm going to fix that somehow. I haven't figured it out yet, but I think I have a fix for it, but not yet. So anyway, here we go. First off, participate in spiritual activities to make themselves feel superior to other people. And this is like getting certification after certification after certification just to say I'm a certified master teacher, blah, 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 to be impressive so that a person might feel they're better than others because they have all this spiritual teaching and training and all that. So they think they've got to be better than other people. But maybe you practice yoga every day. Maybe you're a Reiki master teacher, and maybe you do meditations and go on retreats and stuff like that. Those things can help you grow, but it depends on your attitude, really. My experience as a teacher, I've taught many different witchcraft classes, various witchcraft classes, as well as I am a certified spiritual life coach. And I have a course that I put together that is mind-blowing. And what happens, though, is people, especially new people who find themselves growing dramatically, feel unsettled, feel kind of scared because they're in new territory, and they look to me for answers because they're not sure of themselves. They're not confident in their own intuition and their ability to get answers, so they'll come to me, and I totally don't mind that. And a lot of the people are just, they're just wanting to understand what's going on and to continue to grow. But every once in a while, someone comes along and is getting all their answers from me. They're trying to anyway. And I can see how easy it is to get all puffed up and, hey, look at me. I'm the master teacher and I'm going to tell you the way it is. And I don't want to do that. It feels very weird and uncomfortable to have that kind of influence over people. And a lot of times I try to remember to say, this is just my opinion. This is how I see it. This is how I understand it. And there are many different ways of looking at the universe and looking at your life and your reality and how you create it. Things like telling somebody that they are responsible for their own happiness when they're dealing with depression and don't understand how to make themselves happy. That could be very painful and very damaging to that person, even though it's truth, right? And maybe it makes you feel superior. Hey, you're not doing enough to make your life more spiritually advanced, so it's your fault. So it's very important to be careful about doing things solely because you want to feel more superior. It's really an inner game, and I apologize for the shakiness. Second one, use spirituality as a justification for failing to take responsibility for their actions. So, This could be along the lines of somebody's upset with you because you're always late, because you don't pull your own weight, because fill in the blank, and they're upset with you. Well, hey, I'm a child of the universe, and I follow the universe time, and I'm always late, but I'm here when I'm supposed to be here. So if you think I'm late, that's your problem. You need to deal with that yourself. And I've caught myself doing this. I'm usually not late, not because of that, but because somebody will say, be upset with me about something that I said or that I did or didn't say or didn't do. And I want to say, well, that's your problem. And, if you're unhappy with that, maybe you need to deal with it so that you can be happy regardless of what I do. Be an allower. Gosh darn it. You need to be an allower and just allow me to be who I am. And so there's that. Slough it off onto the other person. It's your fault. You don't like what I do. Maybe you're just too uptight. You need to loosen up and make it the other person's fault. Narcissists are very good at that. And I don't want to fall into that category. And I don't think I'm anywhere close. But I don't want to slough off my responsibility of looking within myself and dealing and healing what is coming up. So when, for instance, if you've followed me for any length of time, you know that I had a falling out with my mom. Here we go again. But I want to touch on this because I really wanted to make it all her problem. She's judging me. She's criticizing me. She's saying all these hateful things. That's her problem. And it is. It is her karma that's coming out, and she's throwing it up. She's throwing up on me, emotionally throwing up on me because of things she needs to deal with in herself, and she's projecting it out on me. All right? So I could just say, that's all your problem. I don't need to do anything. But I do, because it really bothered me. I felt uncomfortable, emotions coming up, hurt, frustrated, and all of that. So I understood, because of my training in shadow work, I saw that I needed to take care of this. There's things that are coming up. And if I was completely healed, then nothing would be triggered. But things got triggered. So I sat down and looked at what she was saying about me and seeing if there's any truth to it. What was coming up because of that, so that I could deal with it and heal it. Okay. Here we go. Scrolling down. Adopt new hobbies, interests, and beliefs simply because they're the latest spiritual fad. So you're doing it because all the hip spiritual kids are doing it. Do it because it brings you joy. Do it because it interests you. Do it because it can help you heal. Who cares about what other people think, right? Okay. So, and that's important to understand, that you got to do it for yourself instead of doing it for what other people think. But at the same time, what other people think is it helps you see yourself, because people mirror stuff back to you. And so if people are upset with you in a pattern, then maybe you should look at that. Okay. So what other people think is none of my business is true, but you have to keep an open mind that there may be something there. So don't do it just because everybody else is doing it and because, oh, people think I'm spiritual if I do this. Okay. So the next one, number 4, judge others for expressing anger or other strong emotions even when it's necessary to do so. I really want to talk about this because the way what I teach as far as emotions is that you've got to pay attention. You have to give space for the emotions that are coming up. In Buddhism, I think it's Buddhism. Pretty sure it's Buddhism. Yes. that they teach that you need to sit with that emotion and feel it and get information from it. But that could take a long time. So what I teach is to process that emotion first. Get it out of the way. Get the intense energy flushed out of your system. And then you can look at what is happening objectively. And this is very, very powerful and important, because your ego is going to tell you it's this way, it's this way, it's this way, trying to get you to think it's their fault, trying to get you to think it's all your fault. It's trying to get you to think, to beat up on yourself, or to project out onto other people. The ego is lying to you, and but at the same time is trying to protect you by making it other people's fault or society's fault or whatever. It's important, whatever. Sorry. But it's important to process those emotions, because if you don't listen to them, give them space, they're going to get worse. And just like a child who needs attention, if you don't give them attention, they're going to get louder and more rambunctious and more crazy. So it's important to honor your emotions and honor the emotions of other people. I have found that it is sometimes necessary to give people space to be angry, to express that anger, to vomit, so to speak. And then once you're done, then I try to communicate in a way that, hey, I'm here to help. What can we do to fix the situation? What can I do to make this better? So it's important to to be in spirit. And the way you know you're in spirit is you feel good. You feel that lightness, feel joy. If you're in ego, you don't feel good. That's how you know the difference. So when you don't feel good, you feel anger, you know you're in ego. So you need to flush that out so that you can see objectively what you're really upset about. Okay. So judging others for expressing anger and strong emotions, being compassionate and understanding, but at the same time, protect your boundaries from other people's negative energy, their negative emotions. So if you keep getting triggered, and somebody is very toxic, it's important to go ahead and cut them off. A lot of people, especially with family, they can't do that. They feel like they need to be the bigger person and continually allow that person to vomit, basically, this toxic energy on them. And it's important to protect yourself. So it's okay to say no to somebody, to tell them, to teach them, this is the way you need to treat me. You can't be talking to me that way. You cannot be calling me ignorant and telling all your friends that I'm a terrible person. That is not a good thing to do. Okay. Use spirituality, this is number 5, use spirituality as a justification for excessive drug use. If you are so inclined to use psychedelic drugs, and I would lump in marijuana with that, you need to be very, very careful. If you're doing it for recreational reasons, it can cause some serious issues, depending on the drug. So very popular is ayahuasca. Ayahuasca is a very powerful drink concoction, because it's 2 different plants put together. And from what I understand, it can harm your body. You have to understand your body and work with somebody who knows ayahuasca and knows how to be safe with it, and knows when a person should not take ayahuasca, because it can damage you. It can, if you're already mentally unstable or you have addiction problems, it can cause problems. So you need to find somebody who's properly trained and experienced, who can guide you. Also, using it for shamanic reasons, which is the only reason why you would use ayahuasca, because you throw up, you have diarrhea, and it has been paused. Oh, right. That's because I have stupid internet connection. It's so that, but anyway, I should be able to edit that out on YouTube. Okay. Let's get into this. Getting drunk can also have negative results. Getting like slam drunk, I think to me. There's nothing wrong with a couple glasses of wine or a cocktail or something like that. But when you get sloppy drunk, when you get stupid drunk, there can be some issues. There can be some problems that come along, and so I watch for that because I don't want to get that far. Okay, so marijuana, a lot of people use it for THC marijuana. They use it for pain. And I have found when I've smoked pot, I don't really feel a lot of a high, very much of a high. I feel very relaxed. And even if I consume too much, I'll fall asleep. I'll just pass out. And so when I was a kid, when I was very young, I smoked pot with my mom and her friends, and I would get high. I remember getting high, but I don't feel that anymore today. So it's not a thrill. THC can be very powerful for pain relief and for healing. So if you use it for those reasons, you're not using it to get high. You know what I mean? You don't have to take so much of it that you really shouldn't be driving. And this is my personal opinion. This is how I feel about drugs in general. If you keep it under control and you still have your wits about you, it's most likely it's going to be fine. And I really think it depends on the person. You really have to look at it honestly to see if it's something that you should be doing. Cocaine sold in this country and other places has been processed, chemically processed to make it more potent and more powerful, a stronger high. That's what makes it dangerous. If you go down to the country, South America, I think it is, where they have the coca plants, and the indigenous people chew on the leaves and it makes them feel good and happy, kind of like marijuana, all right? So that is not dangerous. My understanding, that is not dangerous when you take it naturally, but it's when it's been processed with chemicals. Who knows what kind of chemicals are in there and whatever they add to it. Okay. With discipline and practice, you can have some amazing experiences just with meditation. Again, I'm sorry for the shakiness, but meditation can get you there. Can give you the most very powerful experiences. I've experienced some mind-blowing experiences in meditation. Number 6, overemphasize positivity in order to avoid looking at the problems in their lives in the world. And I found this with the political when Trump was running for president, Hillary was running for president, there's a lot of hate and bitterness going around. People just, wow, okay, I don't want any part of that. I pulled myself out of that. I'm not going to put down the political process of electing a president. I think that's a very cool process. But when people get so ugly and both sides, they want change. And I understand that. Standing up for your rights, I understand that. You don't have to be hateful. You don't have to be an asshole to stand up for your rights. Oh, but then they won't listen. Look at Martin Luther King. Look at Gandhi. All right? Look at these people who were kind and compassionate, respectful, very just respectful. I mean, everything about them was respectful. They didn't talk hate. They didn't talk ugliness. There was no violence on their part. They did not condone violence. And look what they were able to accomplish. Okay, so that's where I want to be. And I was accused of being a self-righteous New Ager.
because I wanted to, according to this person, I wanted to take the high road so I can look down at everybody else. Well, this is what this is. Overemphasize positivity in order to avoid looking at the problems in their lives and the world, in the world. So I really took this to heart, and I was thinking, to in some situations, I would imagine that in order to make change happen, you basically have to swing the pendulum way to the other side. And sometimes that means getting out the pitchforks and the torches and off of their heads, kind of. And I don't, and you know what I mean, metaphorically. I don't mean go out and actually hurt people. And I'm not, I just don't want to see violence. I feel like maybe in some situations that's the only way to get the people in power to change. But I have to also believe that the government is a reflection of the people, and if the people change, the government will change. Okay, but and I wonder if positivity, energy, forcefulness, personal power, but still being positive, but being strong. Because a lot of people see, oh, you're positive, you're peaceful, you're a welcome mat. And so, no. And I've had to metaphorically, smack people upside the head and tell them to back off in order to protect my boundaries. Because they thought I was sweet and kind and compassionate. We'll walk all over Dawn. And that's when I get out, my spiritual hammer and smack them once. And they learn. You have to teach people how to treat you. Okay, number 7, repress unpleasant emotions that don't fit their spiritual self-narrative. This is about, it's not spiritually advanced to feel anger or loneliness or any of that stuff. I need to be positive. I need to be happy, 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 and never have any of these uncomfortable feelings of hurt, feelings of shame, feelings of guilt. Let's push that down. And it's going to explode. Don't do that. You need to explore what is going on in your shadow self. So, like I said, process your emotions so you can see objectively, and then go do a deep dive into your childhood. Where did this start? Where did I learn that I'm not good enough? Where did I learn that I'm not smart enough? Where did I learn that I have to be abandoned? Where did I learn that I have to be powerless to be safe? Right? So emotions are your guidance system. You must listen to them. Otherwise, they will mess you up. They will mess you up. Okay. Number 8, feel deep aversion and self-loathing when confronted with their shadow side. And this is very important because all this talk about shadow work. If you don't have the training, and a lot of it is you can find free on the internet, but your ego. No, you don't know your ego. Usually, if you haven't done this work, you don't know your ego. Your ego has fooled you and conditioned you and programmed you for years and years and years. It's very, very difficult to get the truth. And that's when I realized that, and that's when I actually got in a spiritual life coach to teach me and bring me through my own shadow work. And so it's don't poo-poo having a life coach or somebody or a shaman who can teach you and help you see yourself. Feel deep aversion and self-loathing. So you're not at a spiritual level that you want to be at, and you're blaming yourself and you're beating yourself up. And there's because you're getting into shadow work and you see how horrible you really are through your eyes. You're condemning yourself. You're judging yourself. Okay. So once I kept going through my shadow work, I realized how silly all my toxic beliefs were. And some of them were based on misunderstandings that I created when I was a child, when I was a toddler. And once I got the truth of what was really going on and the truth of who I am, I realized that all that stuff is bunk. Those toxic beliefs aren't even real, and it's just like pricking a balloon. It just deflates. All right. Number 9, find themselves in bad situations due to excessive tolerance and refusal to distinguish between people. Okay, believing that everyone needs to be forgiven and be compassionate and overlook people's toxic selves and their poor behavior. You're letting down your guard and allowing them to walk all over you because, well, they're really good deep down inside, and they deserve to be forgiven and all of that. There comes a point where you have to just take those people out of your life, block them out of your life. Social media, phone calls, seeing them, everything, they need to be blocked out of your life until you can, and it may be forever. I've not spoken with my mom for quite a while now, and I feel like I keep going back and forth. Should I reach out to her, or would it even matter? Would she still see me as some deplorable person, ignorant and self-righteous new ager? Would it even make a difference? And so I'm not at a point where I feel comfortable reaching out to her, but I think it's important to do that at some point. Once I feel I can think about the things that she said and did and not feel the toxic emotions. Now, what I have been doing is sending her compassion and thoughts of love, and I feel that has made a big difference in me. And it's something that she needs. I mean, she is expressing a lot of hate and bitterness, and it's because she needs to heal. And she doesn't need judgment and criticism from me. She doesn't need that same hateful energy coming back to her from me. So I'm sending her thoughts of love and compassion, which I hope is helping her, but I know is helping me. Okay, number 10, want so badly for various spiritual practices to be correct that they disregard science entirely. Now, this is very tricky, okay, because we all know we're witches. We know that there's a spiritual world that science does not understand and science cannot prove. When I see a ghost, I know that is a discarnate human that is standing there. I know that that is real. But at the same time, science cannot prove certain things, and I need to pay attention to that and not get delusioned. And there are a lot of people today who are anti-science because we've been lied to. We were told that butter was bad for your health. Fat is bad for your health. You need to consume this hydrogenated vegetable crap. This is healthy for you. Well, now we know it's not. And so we were lied to. How can we trust science that keeps telling us eggs are bad? Oh, now they're good. So people feel they cannot trust science. And I question the hell out of scientific discoveries and studies. And a lot of times when I dig into these studies, it ends up being a handful of people, and they have no scientific method that they're really working with. There's no control. They didn't keep up with them. They're making assumptions, and it's crap. And then they're selling it as a study. They're trying to get people to believe this is the way it is. Look at our findings, and it's bullcrap. It's not something that you need to be embracing and believing. So, and how many times have big corporations been found guilty of knowing that their product is terrible and harmful, but they put it out there anyway? And the government has lied to us and told us things were happening when they weren't, and things weren't happening when they were. So who do you believe? You have to trust your intuition. You have to build it up first so that you can trust it. And so, but be careful to just be skeptical. When somebody's talking about their experiences and they seem outlandish and way out there, be skeptical, but don't criticize them and totally block them and, oh, they're just being delusional. Because there's a lot that science cannot prove that is real, that is in the spirit world. And it takes intuition to know when somebody is speaking the truth and when they're not. And intuition to know, is that incarnate, thing there, standing there, that discarnate human, I think is standing there. Is that really a ghost, or is that my imagination, or am I having vision problems? What's going on? So just imbalance. And a lot of these are about knowing yourself. If you do shadow work, you're going to understand who you are, and understand when it's time to block somebody to protect your boundaries and your psyche and your soul. And when you're strong enough to stand up to the person and say, no, you need to treat me better. You can't be talking to me like that. So, and if they continue to walk on you, know when to say enough and block them and get them out of your life, okay? So, and that's all I'm going to talk about today. And I want to thank Cheldra for putting this, posting this article on the Facebook group Shadow Magick Witches, and I wanted to take the time to talk about them because some of them are a little fuzzy and squishy. And remember to process your emotions, and you do that through breathing, through exercise, yoga, and get to feeling good, a place that you feel good. When you feel that lightness, that joy, you know you're in spirit. And then you can look at what happened objectively. Is this really something you need to deal with? Or is this just the other person's karma and you need to teach them not to vomit on you? Or how can you help them? Now that you're done vomiting on me, how can I help you? If you can do that without your ego defenses trying to lash out back at them to defend yourself, then go for it and see what you can do to help them. All right, so Easter Sunday, if you're having dinner with family, we are today, spending time with family, go for it. Feel love and compassion for everybody, and whatever you're doing today, make it a blessed day. I know that sounds kind of corny, but I want you to find things that bring you joy and do that today. And hopefully it's warm where you are. It's going to be warm here, I think close to 80. So enjoy your day, and I will talk to you hopefully next week. All right? Blessed be. Love you guys.